right, still in chapter 12, at the bottom of page 92 in your handouts. You said you didn't need one. I told you I was going to need your library card. War in heaven, Satan cast out. Any questions from previous? Anything leading up till now? Anything at all that you're unsure of or don't understand, please ask questions. I know everybody's... They say that there's no such thing as a dumb question, but that everybody's afraid to ask because they think they have a dumb question. Really, well, I won't say it doesn't exist, but most of the time it's not. I've heard some doozies before.
Working at doctor's office, you hear
Anyone? Anything?
Okay, I think you covered it last week, but just to clarify, when he's talking about join the third of stars down, that's not talking about the original ball. He's talking about the whole...
So funny you should mention that. Because that was something that I wanted to bring up as we read these next few verses.
Okay.
So...
I hope that thought.
Yeah, no, I was going to mention that. So yeah, no, that is a good question, and I don't know that I have a definitive answer for you.
Okay, well,
but I'll tell you what I think.
Okay, well,
whatever.
That in the corner will get me.
Yeah, nothing. Not anymore. Yeah. Yeah, the joke is now that in $5 will get you a cup of coffee.
Right.
All right, if there aren't any questions other than that one that we'll address here in just a second, we'll go ahead and jump in at chapter 12, verses 7 through 12. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Well, it's already short. He just doesn't realize how short, but he will.
Okay, so when it says, and there was war in heaven, that's not talking about like the uttermost heaven. It's talking
That's all part of what the discussion needs to be here. What do you think?
I think it's just talking about where Satan is right now. That's how he was captain. He's already been thrown out of the big forgot that.
Julie asked the question if everybody had heard in reference to this kind of together. Previously, we had seen where it talked about where there was war in heaven, and then Satan was cast out. And then with his tail that he drew a third of the stars, meaning angels, which would now be fallen angels. It was asking the time period of that. Was that part of this, or when was that? What's your thoughts? And we'll kind of break things down. And, again, straightforward, common sense approach, I think, is always the best. But even doing that, there are some things that, just because we haven't seen it unfold yet, we really don't know.
Well, if we take this back to what Jesus said, didn't Jesus say that he seen like Satan get thrown down and like lightning or a star or something?
Which that was the original
Right, so.
fall.
If we look at it in a common sense, because I don't have a lot of this deal with me. Then we would take that and like rewind it and make that this, right? This would be the second time, but the fight would be like closer to like the end of days, so it's gonna be like in our atmosphere.
Right. So we have to, again, put things in perspective with other things that are being included in the statements. So, and here's where, when we first started, I mentioned that Revelation can get difficult because John is told to write about things that were, things that he was happening right then in his present time, and the things which were to come. And the writer of this commentary here is pretty straightforward in that everything from chapter 4, verse 1 on is things to come. So his perspective of this is going to be that everything after that is future. Everything. I don't know that I agree with that.
That doesn't make sense though, this part.
Yeah, I do think this is in actual heaven though.
This part, I'm going to, okay, I'll give my opinion, then I'll state why. That this is future. This isn't happened yet. This is going to be during the tribulation. And the heaven that he's talking about, I don't believe is the heaven where God resides. It simply is what you were saying, the outer atmosphere. That's what they refer to as heavens. In anything higher than ground level,
Yeah, they were. I wish I had my Strongs with me to see what the original word was for heaven here. Usually when they write, when they talk about like the atmosphere and like it's the heavens, like
right.
Plural with this
well, let me explain why I'm saying this, and then we can discuss there. There was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought his angels and prevailed not. Neither was their place found anymore in heaven. And I'm still going with the heavens as the atmosphere above the earth, however far that extends. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth.
So he no longer has the power to reign.
He's no longer prince of the air. He's being stripped of that.
And later on it says, "Well, to the inheritors of the earth."
Well, then we're going to put it all together, and that's part of it too. Now is salvation come in strength in the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. Okay, that statement right there is a past tense. And I'm going to say that he doesn't have access to God and the throne. Job, which is considered the oldest book of the Bible in terms of time of being written, states, right as it gets going, says that there was a time when Satan came before God and answered and gave an account. Meaning that that time doesn't exist anymore. He doesn't have access to God whenever he wants to go and have access to God. So that statement of him being the accuser of the brethren here saying day and night, he doesn't have that ability any longer.
He might not. Could it be like, God can hear everything, not that he has to respond.
Sure.
So he could still be like murmuring or whatever. Or is it? Because God hears it, and he still could be like that now.
Yeah, and that is going to continue. That's not going to stop. But that where he would come and present himself before God, like I said, that Job states it clearly that there was a time. That statement of itself is indicating that doesn't exist anymore. Otherwise, he would say that you just simply say that Satan does this, not there was a time. So then we go on, it says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Who are they? those that are here on the earth during the tribulation. So he's cast down, and he's an all-out attack on humanity, and he's going to try to, specifically Israel. So anyone that is holding on to God and accepting who Christ is, he's going to kill him because he has the ability to do it. That is the only time in our history, which is future, that Satan actually has the authority, because God allows him to during that time, and the ability to kill Christians.
So we're saying out here how he was cast out into the earth and his angels cast out. You think that's past tense?
No, I think that's future tense.
So he was already cast in the earth. So
But he's putting that together with him attacking the people. They overcame him by the word of their testimony, by the blood of the Lamb. So the blood of the Lamb would have to have been after Christ's crucifixion. Okay?
Yes.
We couldn't overcome him by the blood of the Lamb before Christ was crucified. So it has to be after that. And then with the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. So there are those that are going to be martyred for accepting Christ, that are here during the tribulation period when Satan is cast out of that place of the heavens as prince of the air, and he's ticked. I mean, that's really sums it up. Then, okay, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So once he's cast down and he's stripped of that, he knows the Bible as well as we do. So, but he's deceived just like he deceives us and thinking he's got a chance. But when that happens, when God removes whatever power and ability that he has and grounds him, casts him to the earth, he's no longer prince, then the realization is going to hit. This is almost over for me. The only hope I have left right now is to destroy as many people as I can before I'm done. Okay, so then your question, and that's what I say, because according to, again, him, the writer of this, he would say that that's future, and that probably is tied in with this. But that the statement of him drawing a third of the stars, him to be cast out in the future at this time and only take a third, whatever fallen angels there are that followed him, that's already happened. There aren't going to be any new ones.
That's why I was looking at this, and it doesn't say that it was, that God did this. It says that he drew that third. That's why I was like, okay, now that part is, before when he took a third of the angels with him, and then the second part is the future tense of now there's going to be a war in the heavens, and then he's going to be cast to earth with. So
here's then. I say that statement of the third, where he was cast out and drew a third of the stars, is past tense. I believe that goes back to his original being cast out.
This whole paragraph seems like it could be past tense.
I don't see that at all. And then, even let's go to the two where he's talking about Michael and his angels in fighting against the dragon. There was war in heaven. Okay, again, to the point of me saying that that's simply a statement of the heavens, any area above the earth's atmosphere. Go back to Daniel when he was praying, and Michael was held right. So, and I'm pretty sure, I'll have to go back and look it up. I didn't go and see. Maybe somebody can go and find it. I'm pretty sure that is talking about a battle in the heavens as well. Well, we know that battle did not take place in heaven, where God's throne is. That would have been in the distance between heaven and here. So another war in the heavens that doesn't state it that way, but it's same concept. But all of this, though, is being tied in the same time period as those that are here on the earth that are turning their attention towards God and towards Christ, that once he's cast down, he's going to start killing them.
When he was cast down the first go around, like from the big heaven, I don't know, the top layer.
Yes, the heaven.
Yeah, the heaven. The first one as the dragon, right?
Not at that time, no.
That's what's throwing me off, where
There
it's
wasn't
saying
a
he
fight
was
over
cast.
it, right?
What's that?
There wasn't a fight over it. God just cast him out. First.
Yeah, I don't believe that there was any statement such as this as Daniel or here, like a war taking place.
Right.
God just cast him out.
Cast him out, and
But he was cast out to earth. I mean, Jesus even says, so the fact that it's saying he was cast out into the earth, like, that already happened. He gets cast to the earth the
Correct.
second time.
But he's
He's-
still
yes.
the prince of
This
the air.
this time though, when this happens, like I said, up until this point, he is giving aloud certain power, certain authority. Like I said, the word refers to him as the prince of the air. He can move freely about.
he's not bound by gravity.
Yeah, right, exactly. I'm trying to think of a way to describe it. He can't be everywhere. He doesn't have that ability, but he can, supernaturally, I guess is the way to say it, move about the earth however he wants to. But when this happens, no, he's going to be on the ground, walking like a man.
Bound by gravity.
Because whatever power he had, and that's what I'm saying. When that happens, the realization is then going to click with him that, hey, whatever reason he thinks he's going to have a shot at winning is going to be gone at that moment. I just had every ability that I had was just taken from me. I'm restricted to the ground like a mortal human being. And you know what? Time's almost up for me. When that happens, he's going to realize that he's this close to being done.
Well, just think of the presence of evil on the earth when they're all here. I mean,
Right.
physically can't do, it's the hatred and the spite, that's going to be with them, and that'll be on the earth at that time.
Yep, absolutely. So those last, that last verse and that you put that together with the ones prior to that. It's all talking about this future event. Because he not only was he cast out of the heaven, back when that originally happened, but he's going to be cast out of the heavens, and that's how we refer to it. But they don't say that there. They just say heaven. Like I said, there are multiple other places in the word where they just simply use the word heaven, and they are specifically talking about the area above the earth between here and
So,
wherever God sits.
so in the scheme of the tribulation, this will be in the middle time, or the last part?
I think it's towards the end. Again, this is where we don't have the perfect understanding. Just prior to this, when Israel runs and hides and they're hid away, we know that that's for the last 3.5 years. So during that time, when this happens, it doesn't say. I think it's going to be towards the end of that. Because of that statement and knowing the events that are getting ready to happen about Satan having a short time, that's why I think
So
it's...
he will literally be on the earth too for all the judgments.
Yep. After this takes place. Yep.
Pastor, we have like 7 years, so it could be that, how the first to the third, how he's going to be like fixing the wall because the wall was in here. It's like, and then the 3.5, the rest, the 3.5, maybe that's the ones that he's going to really reveal that, he could, pick anyone to, destroy and manipulate people or whatever, that he could.
Oh yeah, for sure. By the time we hit the midpoint,
Yeah.
he's gonna have shown his true colors and who he is.
Yeah.
But it's going to be too late for everybody because they're already going to have given the Antichrist,
Yes, yeah.
that man, the power that he's looking for. So it's too late. There's nothing they can do about it at that point. I'm trying to remember now. I don't think we've discussed it yet. So it's probably, or did we? I can't remember now. Where he turns his attention on the church and destroys the church.
I don't think we
Isn't
got
that
it yet.
what he sits on the throne?
That's coming up. Okay. So same thing. He's going to gain religious power, and everybody in terms of religion is going to be looking to him. And then once he gains that authority too, and we haven't gotten there yet, I don't think we did, then he doesn't need the church anymore. So those that are the leaders of the church, whatever that is at the time, and whatever they call themselves, whether it's most everyone is trying to say it's some form of Catholicism, the Roman Church. I think that's very likely, but I don't know. Whatever it is, he's not going to need them, and he's going to just start wiping them out.
Or even now, they started already to push that one world religion.
Right. And as far as him being involved in that, whether it's right now today or whenever it comes about, his goal is so that he receives that authority over the religious part of the world. And once he gets it, then all of the religious leaders and churches or whatever, I don't need you anymore. You're gone. That's how he operates. He gets what he wants and then destroys you.
Yeah, that's why it's probably a lot of Christians, believers that, let's see, left behind, and they're gonna die for that, because you don't want it to be join the 66, right? To have a mark of the beast. So you're gonna die for it.
Yeah, if you don't take it, yeah.
If you didn't take it.
Yep.
So it could have a very big revival in that time, hopefully.
Well, there will be among the Jews, we know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so one last thing.
That's right.
So when he's talking about, being the accuser and accusing them before God, I went ahead and looked up the reference on it, and it gave Zechariah 3:1, and it says, "And he showed me Joshua the high priest standing before the angel of the Lord, and Satan standing at his right hand to resist him. And the Lord said unto Satan, The Lord rebuke thee, O Satan. Even the Lord that hath chosen Jerusalem rebuke thee. Is not this a brand plucked out of the fire?" So, he's still talking to God.
Right. And I think that statement of him here in what we just read, says, which accused them before God day and night, is a past tense statement.
Yeah, but he's talking
It
about
didn't
those
say-
that overcame.
Right, so he's not saying which it is accusing them, which accused. I think that's a past tense statement.
Well, it starts out, the accuser of our brethren is cast down, and it's saying because he's cast, the way I read it is because he's cast down, which had accused him before God day and night. Well, he can't do that anymore because now he's cast down.
Right.
Therefore, it'll be past tense.
Right.
Yep. So as to what extent he's able to do that, we're simply not told. Like I said,
we know what he does to us because anytime we fail, he's right there, finger pointed, and sometimes uses people with the finger pointed.
and I don't think, and this is just me thinking, my opinion, that he can simply go to God and access God whenever he wants to.
I think in Job, though, didn't it say there was a time when they were called to...
So it says they presented themselves.
Right.
Yeah, I never took that, like
So-
in Job or this, it's like they just went whenever they want. And more
Like there was a
there
time when they had to
Yeah, like
stand
you're
before-
but
But even that, however that took place or what it was, doesn't take place anymore. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said there was a time. And that is absolutely a past tense statement. So how it takes place or doesn't take place since then, I don't know. We just aren't told.
Wouldn't it be like okay, the children of the wilderness, how they just murmured and complained, and, you know, it wasn't like they were in prayer, or technically they were right in front of God, you know, but God's everywhere. I mean, so, because I can see it like Julie says it, you know, because he was cast down, therefore he can no longer, like, you know, run his jibs up there and, you know, the atmosphere where God can, you know, paying attention to him and hearing him, because
Yeah,
taunting him.
he can be crying out now, making all kinds of accusations, and yeah, God hears it.
Would that be the same as the accuser? And
I don't know. I mean, it could be. So that's, I'm not going to try to. I know we want to say something, you know, specific, and I just can't do it. We just don't have that much information to be able to say, yep, this is exactly how it is. I don't know.
What's wrong with you?
You know what?
right?
I couldn't tell you the people I've seen that, to me anyways, get themselves in trouble because they have to have an answer. Sometimes I think they make up stuff just to be able to, I can't do that. I won't do that. I don't know. That's my answer. And it's not because I don't think that there's something there that tells us specifically. I've not found it. You know, if there is something, I am not aware of it. And I've searched pretty diligently, so I have to say, it's not revealed. I don't know.
I wanted to ask because what could be necessary.
Yeah, there's a lot of could be's.
Right.
But think about that, the very last statement there of him having great wrath and what his attention is going to be when it finally it dawns on him. He realizes that he has a short time. I mean, you think things are bad now, and we know that it's nothing like it's going to be during the tribulation time when the spirit-filled saints are gone, the evil that's in the world. How much do you think he's going to ramp things up?
It will be increased more worse than we have.
Unbelievably, we can't even imagine when he says, "Hey, you know what? I've been hitting it hard, but my time is up. I'm going to have to give it everything I got right now," and he will. And he will. What man wouldn't want to be here?
Me either.
I mean, if you think about it too, just the last 20 years.
Right.
Just how it has escalated smoothly. I mean, it's just things that were not acceptable before we are bad if we don't accept it. And it's just like, oh my goodness, I can't imagine, like you said, at the very end when he knows, I don't know. I mean, just, all our rights too. You can't even really mention the Bible. You can't mention the name of Jesus like you were saying the other day.
Yep.
You could say God.
People get hostile. Yeah.
Yes, they do. They get very angry. And it's funny, I thought about this several years ago. I was just like, how at the end will people be so blind to take the mark and, all this stuff? But I'm thinking that spirit is already in them. And so
Yes.
it's just such a natural thing to just follow suit. I know so many people, and it breaks my heart, that are just so blind, and it seems like it all goes hand in hand. You accept this, you accept this, you accept this, and it's all the same thing.
Tied together,
yeah. And if you say one thing against this, they get irate.
Yeah, you're the one that's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yes, I have a neighbor that, I've lived next door to him for 25 years. But I'll tell you, something had come up that he didn't like, and he jumped on me. And it's just like this kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like, boy, and I saw the true colors, and I was like, wow. I mean, just these little things like this just make people furious.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead and I'm going to read kind of quickly his comments here, just to see if we pick out anything. Don't. Just see if we can pick out anything that give us any insights other than what we've already come up with on our own.
One thing I'd like to think. Oh my God, I lost it.
Oh,
I agree.
Go catch it.
Oh, it points out that by the blood of the Lamb,
mhm.
they will, let's see, rejoice.
They'll overcome. Yep.
Will overcome, just like we do now.
Yes.
We have that power now to overcome Satan.
Yep.
We really do, even though he has the power now in the air. That same blood of the Lamb.
Correct.
The saving grace.
And that's the same thing that's going to enable them as well. Yep.
The same saving grace.
You know, it's funny, I walked in, I had to come as late because I had to work late, whatever, and that you were saying that scripture, and they overcame by the blood of the Lamb, and the word is their testimony, and I'm in the bathroom, praise the Lord.
All right, let's see here. As the stage of action opens in verse 7, mighty movements of eruption are prevailing in the heavens. A third character is now introduced. It is Michael, the Prince of Israel. This mighty one is no stranger to the student of the Word. He is the mighty archangel who withstood in combat against the Prince of Persia in relation to Daniel's people, Israel. It is most appropriate that Michael appears in this setting, for the Israelites are the ones symbolized by the woman and man-child whom we have been considering. This embodiment of Scripture speaks of the last struggle or conflict of Satan and his foes in relation to their habitation of the heavenlies. So far it sounds like he's on the same track as us. To be in the dark concerning the activities of spiritual warfare in high places is the result of many who fall into the methods, plans, and schemes of the devil. The writer to the Ephesians warns the believer of his foes and speaks of this spiritual warfare. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Again in Ephesians 2:2, Satan is referred to as the prince of the power of the air. Satan still has access into the heavenlies, where he is called the accuser of the brethren. He is given 4 descriptive names in Revelation chapter 12, verses 7 through 9. That great dragon, that old serpent, the devil, and Satan. The great dragon reflects upon the term used by the Revelation in describing his future kingdom. He is referred to as that old serpent, which alludes back to the Garden of Eden experience of Adam and Eve. Then the term devil, derived from the Greek diabolos, means the defaming or slander. The Hebrew meaning of the word means adversary, in which he is the master adversary of God's people. In the book of Job alone, the name adversary appears no less than 12 times in relation to Satan and God's servant Job. The entire world's activities are arranged by the influence of good and evil, God and Satan. These are evil days, and the rulers of darkness are most active, the objective being to divert man from God and therefore prolong the inevitable end-time conflict, which will, for the first time since the beginning of Lucifer's long career, rid the heavens of Satan and all the rebel spirits who fell with him. It should be carefully observed that this great end-time battle involving the angelic world does not speak of an occurrence of the dateless past. That is, at the original fall of Lucifer. Satan, since iniquity was found in him, has existed as the prince and power of the air and the god of this world. This great end-time battle of the spirit world will not appear in the very presence of God's heaven, but in the atmospheric heavens. For Lucifer, the son of the morning, was expelled from the heaven of God at the original fall. This event does not begin the Great Tribulation, as some have supposed, but speaks more directly to the middle of the week. So he's placing it in the middle of the tribulation. The prophet Daniel speaks of a particular time when Michael, the angelic prince of Israel, shall stand up and fight. The results of this battle will be felt largely by those on the earth, and particularly Israel, seeing that their angelic prince is leading in battle. This will be a literal combat by spirit-body contact, which is materially possible in that angels inhabit real tangible realms. They are most capable of operating in the substance realm, for spirit beings are capable of being captured and confined in prison houses, which we've studied that in several places already here. As the result of Satan and his angels being cast out from the heavens into the earth, 2 phenomenal occurrences take place. The accuser of the brethren no longer is permitted to bring charges to God against his people. So however he's doing it, he won't be able to do it after that. Satan becomes more conscious that the ending of his own evil career and judgment are now approaching. The perennial accusations, indictments, and false charges brought against God's people by Satan shall for eternity depict the original source used of God, wherein the free wills of mankind through Christ Jesus were found to be blameless. They shall also stand as a mental torture to Satan and all rebels who through willfulness and obstinacy perversely insist not to follow God. So I pretty much went right along with our discussion. Okay, the dragon persecutes Israel during the Great Tribulation, verses 13 through 17. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman, which we've already discussed is, which brought forth the man-child, who's that?
144,000.
Okay. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time, from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which kept the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Okay, he's probably going to state here, but before we get to it, let's see, what do we think? Who do you think is the remnant of her seed that Satan goes after? So, the 144,000 are raptured. They're taken out. Then there's the rest of Israel that, through that, or whatever other reasons, recognize what's going on, and they realize that they messed up. They're going to turn to God and accept that Christ is Savior also. But they've missed their opportunity to go and be a part of the original 144,000. So they're still here. So then when Satan is cast out into the earth, and he's mad about it, he's going to turn his attention on them. And God is going to remove them into the wilderness, and they're going to be hidden. He's going to provide for them, but Satan is going to attempt to go after them and try to destroy them. 144,000 are gone. He can't do anything to them. So he's grabbing at straws. Here is what's happening. His time is just about up. So any body or anything that he can try to take down, he's going after it. I don't know, again, just because it hasn't happened yet, so we don't have the hindsight. Talking about the waters out of his mouth. And the flood, if that's symbolic, and he may get into that as to what I think that perhaps is a literal flood that Satan tries to, he probably knows about where they are, but because God won't let him, he can't access them. So I think he may try to, we know the reference of, the rock Petra. So if that's where this is, and, to try to, flood out the area that they are because they can't come out or whatever. So he's thinking, well, I'll just wipe them out with a flood. I think if they were in caves or someplace like that, a flood sure would do it. But God says, no, you're not going to do that. He's going to open up the earth and swallow up the flood. I believe that to be literal. That's my thoughts. I haven't read ahead here to see his take on that or not, whether that's how he states it, but I think that's what we're talking about. So then after that happens, it says that he's not able to do that. So it says then the dragon is mad with the woman Israel, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. So who do you think that is?
The ones that turn to God after the very end.
I think it's more of Israel. And, when things take place, and we see this all the time with individuals, not everybody responds when they should respond. If they all did, it wouldn't be just the 144,000 that were raptured out. All of Israel would have, if they all would have gotten on board like they were supposed to. Well, when the 144,000 go out, then a large number are then going to turn and accept Christ as their Savior, and they're the ones that are going to flee into the wilderness. Well, apparently, they all take the warning or see what's taking place. They don't all go. So there's still going to be some. They're going to probably stay right there in Jerusalem. You know, they always have that connection and that tie. They're going to probably stay back there. And then Satan, because, well, I missed out on the 144,000. The ones that are fled into the wilderness, I tried to destroy them with a flood, and God said, no, that didn't work. Who's left? There's some of them that are, because they saw this, that now they're turning to God, and they're back over here. I'm going to go see what I can do to them. That's just how he always operates.
So you think he's because
Good.
you think he's because his efforts are focused on the Jews, Israelites.
Predominantly, yes. I think they're on anyone that is going to accept Christ. But first and foremost,
God's chosen.
what a prize to Satan
God's chosen.
to take down God's people, his chosen people. Yeah.
So basically Satan didn't lose all his power.
No,
So he still had power.
he still has some power.
It's just not the power to go before the Lord
And to move about freely
Yeah.
wherever he wants to go.
and he probably got himself a nice car.
Yeah. Yeah, a good jet.
Well, he has a lot of followers too. Even
Yeah.
if he's in Israel, he already occupied in every whole world. You know, it's not just only, you know.
Oh yeah, no, there's a vast
Yeah.
number of following him.
Yep.
So we're not connecting Satan as being the Antichrist.
No, not at all.
Two different.
Yeah, the Antichrist is a human being.
Right.
Yes,
But he is filled also with the spirit of devil.
correct,
Satan, yeah.
correct. Yeah, the Antichrist is actually a spirit.
Yeah.
Throughout the Bible, it's referred to as the spirit of Antichrist. Yep.
Okay, so he'll still have power.
What's that?
He'll still have power when he's cast down.
Some. He's getting restricted more and more and more and more, yes. All right. The precarious circumstance finds Lucifer and all his cohabitants of hell confined to planet Earth. With the knowledgeable fact that he has miserably failed to destroy the man-child and has lost accessibility to the heavens, Satan angrily begins to persecute the woman which brought forth the man-child. That's the rest of Israel. The woman is protected of God, however, and is given 2 wings of a great eagle to fly into a place where she is nourished for a time, times, and half a time. These units of time have reference to the last 3.5 years of the Great Tribulation. This is not the first time the term eagle wings has been employed in relation to the divine intervention of the covenant people. In Exodus 19:4, God speaks of the house of Jacob through the Mosaic covenant of their deliverance out of Egyptian bondage. How I bore you on eagle wings and brought you unto myself. Then in Deuteronomy, God's tender care for Israel is employed in the same figure of speech. As an eagle stirreth up her nest, fluttereth over her young, spreadeth abroad her wings, taketh them, beareth them on her wings. The main body of Israel is protected from the notorious one during the last part of Great Tribulation. We cannot be sure just how God will take care of Israel. However, the idea employed is that of supernatural care. Yep, that's for sure. Perhaps it will be in like manner as her 40-year sustenance of manna in the wilderness, or the experience of Elijah, which the ravens by the brook Cherith. There are many Old Testament scriptures which seem to employ the particular place in which many of Israel will flee for protection. The first Old Testament prophetic setting depicts Israel being protected in chambers with doors about them, hid for a moment until the indignation be overpassed. God's command to Moab is to hide the outcast, betray him that wandereth, betray not him that wandereth. Let mine outcast dwell with thee, Moab, be thou a covert to them from the face of the spoiler. In the Psalms, David speaks prophetic utterances which relate to the outcasts being protected during the Great Tribulation. Who will bring me into the strong city? Who will lead me into Edom? Wilt not thou, O God, which hast cast us off, and thou, O God, which didst not go out with our armies? Daniel, in speaking of the conquest of many countries, predicts that Edom, Moab, and Ammon will escape Antichrist. This same wilderness experience is spoken of by the prophet Hosea. And bring her into the wilderness and speak comfortably unto her. The second coming of the Lord is predicted in Isaiah 42 and speaks of those in their wilderness place of protection. In light of all the Old Testament scriptures which predict the flight of Israel into the wilderness during the time of Jacob's trouble, the probability of Petra, the ancient capital of Edom, as a place of refuge for Israel seems more likely and forthcoming than any other interpretation. The flood which the serpent cast out of his mouth to cause her to be carried away is described by many as symbolic, while others tend to hold to a literal flood water which is intended to sweep Israel down some valley. It is more probable that the waters represent people, as in other places in prophetic scriptures. Well, this is another one of those, I don't know. The divine intervention, however, of the earth opening her mouth should be considered in the literal sense, as in the case of Korah and his company in Numbers, which I'll agree with that too. Whether it's literal water or a multitude of people, God's done it before and he can do it again. Open up the earth to swallow them. In the first verse of the 12th division, verse 17, the devil continues the great conflict. This time it is with the remnant of the seed of the woman. The group of Jews spoken of here has reference to those who did not flee from Judah. This period of time will perhaps be the peak of anti-Semitism. There will be a remnant of godly Jews who will have turned to Christ, whom the Antichrist severely persecutes during the remaining part of tribulation. It is said of these particular ones that they keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Undoubtedly, many of them will give their life for Christ during this particular time. It should be noted, however, that others will survive this period, including the 144,000 who are sealed and a great number out from the Gentile nations in chapter 7. The two witnesses will be there, for it is this particular time for their ministry. It will be because of these dynamic personages that many of the hearts of Israel will turn to Christ. I hadn't thought about that either. The two witnesses, they're going to be present for the last half of the tribulation as well. So the two witnesses. So they'll be there to further convince those through what they're seeing of what's taking place.
I thought at this point already they had been taken up, or was that just the part where it was kind of clumped together? And...
Yes, it tells the whole story, but it's not necessary in that.
Okay.
So, and here's, if I remember correctly, they are present for 3.5 years.
But it's not the first or the last.
Everybody assumes, and he is saying that as well, that it's the last 3.5 years. Again, that's one of those things that people, they proclaim as though it's, I've not found anything to say this half or that half. The two witnesses here for 3.5 years, to me, could be any 3.5 year period within the 7 years.
Because otherwise, okay, this is just my thinking. It would be stupid to say, okay, you're dead, rapture them up, okay, now we're coming back.
Yeah, it doesn't. Well, when they witness them and they going into heaven, that's the end of their 3.5 year period.
But I'm saying if it was at the end of the 3.5,
right, that's me.
Then
yeah,
that would be like the people who believe
once
rapture happens at the end.
Once they see him go, then they're not coming back.
Right.
Yeah, that's me. I think the same thing. It's just some things that's the common sense part. It's like it just doesn't make sense.
War in heaven. Common sense tells me there'd be no war in God's heaven.
No, God's
There's none.
When Satan was cast out, there was no war. God just said, "You're gone."
So
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Pastor, in chapter 12, isn't it this one, the 144? So, the 144 is already gone, but the two witnesses also went also, right?
No, they're still here. Yep. Well,
And also
yes, I believe so. How far and how long they're here, that's what we were just talking about. We know that the two witnesses are here during this time for 3.5 years. What portion or where at, say this is a 7-year period,
Yeah.
so where at that 3.5 years fits into that, I don't know. It's not right at the beginning, and I don't think it's right at the end either. So I think it's somewhere in the middle. I really do. That's again my opinion. So
because in chapter 12, he's after to, because he's already cast down here on the earth, and the 144 is already gone.
Gone, right?
Yeah, and the remnants, he's go after the remnants. So
Right.
where is the two?
The two witnesses?
It's not there.
Well,
anymore.
whether they're here for any part of this, and that's what I'm saying. Where that 3.5 years falls in, if it coincides with any of this, I just don't know. I would think that they're gone at this point.
Well, at this point, though, doesn't this mark that middle point? Because after the Jews flee, that's at the last.
Yes, because they're going to be
They're fleeing at the beginning.
they're going to be
of the last
protected and
3.5.
covered for 3.5 years, and I do believe that is the last 3.5 years.
Right. So that is just now happening in 12.
Right. And
So
he's stating that the two witnesses are here during this time. I don't know that.
Right.
So my next, so these remnants that they're gonna be left behind here on the earth. So these remnants is gonna go to the millennium.
Some will. Some will. So here, that remnant isn't just. It's not talking about just those that are left behind here on the earth. That's after the 144,000. So here's all of Israel that are left here on the earth after the rapture. Okay, 144,000 at some point are taken out. Okay, so shrink that down. Then how many this is, I don't know because it doesn't say. There's those of Israel that are going to flee to the wilderness that God's going to protect and feed. So that just shrunk down. Okay, this is the remnant.
Yeah.
What's left of them is the remnant that he's talking about.
Yeah, and those are the remnants also is going to the millennium, could be.
Could be.
You know,
So,
it's
well,
not there.
the ones that perhaps survive,
Yeah.
because many of them are going to die. Because once they didn't go in the rapture of the 144,000. They didn't go with the others that fled to the wilderness and are being protected and fed by God. So they're left where they're at, and it says that Satan is going to focus his attention on them, and they're going to be persecuted like they've never been persecuted before. So what does that mean? They're going to give their lives. Many of them. They're going to be killed.
But those remnants that God had protected, I don't know.
Well, the ones that are protected, they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
But the remnant that's not the 144,000, that's not the ones that flee to the wilderness, that remnant they're just left here trying to survive like everybody else. Satan's going to focus his attention on them. And they're going to pay for it with their lives. Most of them. Most of them. Any other? I'm running the recording from my phone, so I don't even know what time it is. What time is it?
8:13.
Oh, is it?
15, yeah.
I had no idea. All right. All right. That finishes chapter 12, unless there's any other questions.
When you were talking about the earth opening up, or whatever, that reminds me in the Old Testament where it talks about Dathan, remember, where he rebelled against Aaron and Moses, I think, or whatever.
Well, he referred to that too as Korah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they opened it up and swallowed them.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's why I say whether the waters is symbolic, and there are times in the Word where the sound of many waters indicates a multitude of people. That's possible. So that could be that flood that proceeds out of his mouth. I'm not ruling that out. But either way, whether it's actual water or people, like he said, him opening up the earth and swallow, whether it's water or people, that's real. That's real. But I can see it being people. I'm certainly not gonna rule that one out.
Who knows, maybe those are different nets. He's the one put it about it.
All right. I did print 13. I could either give them to you now. If you're going to read them, I'll give them to you. That's the whole point.
No.
If you're not going to look at them, I'll keep them because then we don't have to remember to bring them back.
I say no.
All right.
I'll keep sharing too.
Greg, you want to
He took a
pass them
picture.
out? Anybody need a letterhead box?